Hey everyone, the Knight's Tango can open uh, in many different ways, but usually d4, knight f6, c4, and then knight c6. Also, it can happen after, for example, um, well, well, any which way that you may. But here, if you encounter this, then most common is knight f3. This prevents e5, and usually here black plays e6, but also d6 is possible, going for a kind of old Indian defense. If black plays e6, white can play knight c3, and this would be the Nimzo Indian defense, or he can play a3. Now black can play either d5, it's kind of a queen's gambit declined, or a Ragozin system, or black can play d6, preparing e5, or black can play g6. So this is really flexible, and this is a kind of King's Indian defense. Or white can also play g3 on the fourth move, and then black can go to the Catalan opening with d5, or play bishop b4, and this can become the Nimzo Indian again, or Bogo Indian after bishop d2 or knight d2, knight b to d2. So those are some lines after knight f3. The second most popular move is knight c3. Here black usually plays e5 because it's allowed, and white can play knight f3, transposing to kind of, or not kind of, transposing to English opening, where black might want to play e4, and then white goes to d2 and plays e3, and but also e takes d is possible, then knight takes d4 and bishop b4. So instead the main line is d5 and knight e7. Now the game can continue, for example, like this, or transpose to the King's Indian defense with d6 from black, and then e4 or bishop g5 even, and g6 like this. And black can also here, after knight c3, just play e6, and this allows e4 from white. White also has other moves like d5, bishop g5, a3, f3, or knight f3. Because there's a lot of space, you can imagine that white can play almost anything, and this can become almost any opening, except for maybe Sicilian or something. So e4, and here black plays d5. Here the main possibilities are e5, which is the main line, e takes d5, c takes d5, and bishop g5. And these positions can also arise after the floor Mykonos variation from the English opening. And another way for white to play, maybe the most instinctive one, is d5. And here normally knight e5. Then white plays e4. Notice if black takes the pawn, then he loses a knight because of this queen fork. So that's why e4 is legit. And here black can play, for example, knight g6, f4, and e5. But also possible is just e6 here. And there's an interesting game from this position played between Elburg and Simmelink. It's a correspondence game in the year 1999, and I think it's a tactically interesting game. So f4, knight g6, bishop d3, e takes d5, here e5, c takes d5, check, another check, here bishop d2, but better was knight c3, because here, yes, black can win a pawn, but it's okay because he still has the queen attacked, so he has to move the queen. And well, actually, sorry, he played this first and then moved the queen. So here white has compensation for the pawn. He has some practical chances, maybe something concrete. So, but white played bishop d2, and black took on g3. Here white plays knight f3, hitting the queen, and black ignores that by playing knight takes f4, with the idea that if white takes the queen, then it's checkmate from d3. So that's why white played bishop f1. Also notice if white takes the bishop on b4, then black plays knight takes d3 anyway. If white takes the knight, then black takes the bishop, and this is hopeless for white because black's gonna maybe take the rook and just be up material, and white's king is going to be perhaps vulnerable, I think. So that's why white is still guarding the d3 square with his bishop, just retreating the bishop. And here black played queen h3. Sorry, he first took on d2. This is difficult to follow. The notation is a nightmare. So, and white took with the knight. Notice if white takes with the queen, then black can take on f1, and if white takes queen, black takes queen, and it's just winning for black. So knight takes d2. I mean, it's winning for black anyway, but not as much winning. And here queen h3, and notice how white can't take this knight either, because it's just gonna be checkmate with the queen. So that's why both of these pieces were kind of like a taboo. Here rook g1, and black played knight takes f1, trading, and here black has 2 extra pawns, so he won the game. But if white takes the queen, then again checkmate with the knight from d3, and also something like knight g5, hitting the queen again. Okay, the queen is going to move, but it's just gonna go lazily to g2 and win white's rook. So this is quite funny position actually. All of this piece is just arrogantly hanging around, you know, at white's camp, and there's nothing white can do about it. So I think that was a funny game, and this opening is good for like some opening study, like out of curiosity. I don't actually recommend it to to anyone, but yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.